In this video drum lesson, you're going to learn how to take any regular drum beat that you play and change it by playing the snare shots with cross-sticking. This is a simple and effective way to dramatically change the dynamics of any beat. The first thing you have to learn is how to play cross-sticking to get the best tone from your snare drum. Start by turning your stick around so that you're actually holding the opposite end of the stick. Set it down on the snare drum like this, with the butt end hanging a few inches over the edge of the snare. The tip of the stick, which is sticking out the other side of my hand, should be a few inches inside the opposite edge. Now, take a close look as to how I'm holding the stick. I don't wrap my fingers all the way around the stick, but I do make sure that they come around slightly. When I set the stick down on the snare, I want my fingers to be wrapped around just enough that they hold the butt end of the stick off the rim. You can see here, when I press on the stick, it isn't resting on the rim. The point here is to ensure the stick rebounds slightly after each stroke, so the snare drum is able to get a better tone. If the stick is just buried into the rim, it would absorb most of that sound. Let me demonstrate the difference for you now. I'll first play 4 strokes where I bury the stick into the rim, and then I'll play 4 where my fingers are positioned properly to allow the stick to rebound slightly. So as you can hear, the snare drum gives a cleaner sound when the stick is able to rebound away from the snare drum rim. Now, the first thing you'll want to do is practice this technique on your snare drum. Play around with a few different adjustments and try to get a really clear tone. It shouldn't take too long to master. Once you have that, you can play the beats on the provided sheet music. I'll go through them now. As you can see, the first beat is a very straightforward rock groove. The X on the second line indicates a cross-stick stroke. I'll demonstrate this beat now. The second example is a little more complicated, but it's important to realize that these beats aren't the main part of the lesson. I'm only demonstrating how this method can fit into virtually any beat you already play. Let me play the second beat for you now. To mix things up with the third example, I'm going to first play through it using cross-sticking, and then I'll sub those out for regular snare drum shots. Together, this will make up a 2-bar phrase with some real dynamic changes. And finally, for the fourth example, I'm going to show you how you can use a combination of cross-sticking, regular snare shots, and riding the crash cymbals to really change the sound and feel of a simple pattern. I'll first play 4 bars of beat number 4 exactly as written. Then I'll sub out the cross-stick shots for regular snare drum shots. And finally, I'll move my right hand to the crash cymbal to really bring up the volume. As you can see, we took a relatively simple beat and changed it in 3 ways. Perhaps the first dynamic style would be good for the start of a song, and then as you settle into the verse, you can move to a regular snare drum shot, and for a louder chorus sound, you can make the last move to the crash cymbal. Now this is just one example of what is possible. You could just as easily move the right hand to the ride cymbal, the toms, or any other voices on your drum set. Better still, you could pick a completely different beat to start out with, and then begin to implement these dynamic changes. The cross-stick technique is one more way to change the dynamics of all your favorite beats. Take this method to your kit and have fun with it.